Hello guys, this is Kimitsu, and in this video I want to talk about my favorite construction so far, and that is this. So let's get up there. So you might wonder what this is, but someone have already guessed. Yeah, it's a minecart station. So basically we're on Silicon Line, and the station is called the RAM. That's because of that thing. So we have human echoes ALU to the east, and to the west is nothing. So yeah, those are minecart boarding areas. So let's go to the east. Oh, let's actually check how to use it. Yeah. Wait for minecart if none available. Okay. Ride the minecart and push the wooden button. Right. Minecarts do not stop. Get off quickly by right click. Okay. Don't stand on tracks, push minecarts, blah blah blah. Okay. Let's go east. The human echoes ALU. And yeah, do you hear that sound? That's the sound of Mojang hating minecarts. Mojang doesn't want you to use minecarts, so they introduce a lot of bugs and glitches so that you give up on them, because minecarts are so hard to code. So they would rather make you quit on them so that they will be able to quietly remove them from the game and be happy ever after. Yeah, just kidding, of course. I personally love minecarts. I mean, look at that. You just ride all the way. You can look around. Like, that's, by the way, why I prefer this hanging setup. You can, like, look around. It really feels like traveling. And no matter how glitchy, practical, and general bad minecarts are, uh, I'll probably never quit using them. Even for stuff like getting around my creative world, for that matter. So here we go. We are at another station, and actually it is an intersection station, so there's another station up there. So there's another line, like, called it carbon, whatever. Let's get up there. Yeah, so it's basically the same, just turned 90 degrees. So what do we have here? We have sandstone plains to the south. Let's get there. See what's there. I mean, so yeah, minecarts are generally bad in Minecraft because you can now just travel numerous ways, like, I don't know, ice roads, ender pearls, beacons with speed, and potions. So all of this stuff give you an ability to travel at the same or even higher speed, like, easily. And to set up a good minecart system, you actually need to have a lot of resources. So here we are. The station was called Sandstone Plains, so go figure. So you might wonder, what's the big deal about this thing? What's so special about this minecart station design? Well, to answer that, let's actually do a blasphemy. Let's TP to our initial station where we started off, and Uh, there's like glitches of chunks not being rendered, and there's another Minecraft bug which Mojang was so what's the word for that? Well, actually this minecart is on tracks, it's just visual bug. Mojang hates minecarts. So here we go, we're back at the initial station and we have two minecarts here. So this was not this, sorry, actually this was the one we used. And there's a question, where did this minecart come from? Do I have a dispenser somewhere around? Nope. Do I have some kind of crazy old school minecart storage with that can feed minecarts? Well, no. The basic idea of this design is... oh, it got fixed. Well, the basic idea of this design is to actually feed minecarts between the stations so that when you use minecart from another station, from one station, uh, it gets another minecart from the near station. So let's see what happens here. As we travel along this line, chunks that were previously unloaded due to we leaving them get loaded again, and see what happens. The minecarts get continuously refreshed on all of these stations, and these are actually relay stations. They repeat themselves. Well, I use like each 8 chunks, but the actual distance can vary. But it than should not be more than the standard chunk distance, so that when you actually like try to enter the station from below, it should be guaranteed that nearest relay station will feed a minecart there. So yeah, this is pretty simple. Of course, it's not a system like idiot-proof system, and it's basically only useful probably to friendly servers where you can be pretty much sure that no one will try to deliberately break your system, or at least not to the extent where when you can't really fix it in a short period of time. And also I want to note that this like station design is probably more uh, convenient, or rather more uh, more appropriate for underground station design, because the entrance to the boarding area is actually from above. But as I said earlier, I like hanging railway tracks so that I can actually look around, and there's not much to look around here, but if it was a survival world, or at least not super flat world, would be kinda cool. Yeah, so as you might have guessed, there's some redstone involved in this thing, and this is basically what it looks like without all of the covering. Like stations with boarding areas and stations that are simply relays are basically identical uh, inside, and they look like this. There's a little difference when it's turned 90 degrees. Some delays had to be changed for some reason. I'm not sure why exactly, but yeah, it's essentially the same thing. So let's take a brief look at what happens here. So here we have a button. A button basically should launch the minecart out of the station, and to do that it will activate through this repeater uh, this redstone wiring, and this is actually a half block, so the redstone signal won't travel down there. All it will do is basically power these powered rails, which are below this minecart, and also it will power this intersection, and also a button will provide power to this line and will power this intersection, and the minecart will happily shoot away. And let's see if that's what it happens exactly. Yes, that's it. So we have exactly the same thing over here, except that there is some changes due to the fact that default intersection direction is different. So there's a torch there, and there's no torch here like it was here. So pretty simple. Now it gets a little bit more complicated with this thing. So this thing detects basically minecarts that are incoming into the station. When minecart is incoming into the station, it actually does a little trick. So first of all, it activates this powered rail and the intersection here, and here too, but only for a short period of time. To do that, it uses this pulse limiter, or yeah, uh, the output of this pulse limiter is right over here, and this pulse limiter feeds into this line in the middle of the station, and that's when this is where this line is branched off here and here too. So basically this line activates both of these launchers, and minecarts will shoot off simultaneously. But while this minecart will go around here, and essentially when it will reach this point, the intersection and the powered rail will already be depowered because we have this pulse limiter. So it will run around here and park into this place instead of this minecart. And this minecart will actually shoot out of the station because we have another output from this pulse limiter right over here and into this intersection. So to recap, when minecart arrives into the station, this minecart gets here and this minecart shoots off into shoots off out of the station and in the opposite direction of the incoming minecart. And that's basically the idea of the system. So if we launch a minecart from here, we have an empty spot here. But since that happens, the new minecart will take the place of this one, and this one will be replaced by that one. Well, pretty simple, actually. Pretty simple. So, given this system, there will always be minecart to fill up the empty spot. And this tripwire is basically a player detector. So it's an occupied minecart detector addition to the detector rail. And what this will do is basically if we track this circuit, this is simply a pulse extender, and it gets into this line and into this line with a slight delay. So basically it does almost the same thing as a button. So it will activate this powered rail and the intersection, but for some period of time, like longer period of time. And also it will activate this intersection, but with some delay. What this ensures is when we arrive on the station in the minecart, this minecart will have a chance to turn around, but minecart that we are riding will not stop at the station, but rather it will go on, and by the time it reaches this place, this intersection gets powered with a delay and we can go further. In my previous version of this station I didn't have this feature because there were no tripwires, so you actually had to stop at each station and click buttons, but due to the fact that you have to have these stations each like 8 chunks or whatever amount of chunks you actually want to place the stations, uh, basically the closer they are the better. uh, the further they are, the longer you have to wait for empty minecarts, and there's actually some cases when uh, like chunk with minecart station might get unloaded in not so appropriate times, so maybe it could break something. I'm not entirely sure about that. Um, didn't do extensive checks, but I did write it for quite a few times. It didn't give me much trouble. So this is very, very nice design. I like it very much. And if you might notice, I have these delimiters like glowstone blocks. They actually designate chunks. So if you count the station size, it's actually 15 by what, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Yeah, so it fits the chunk. So if you align the station to the chunks and all of the stations to the chunks, this decreases the probability of some bad cases when half of a station is loaded and another half is unloaded, so these delays go off and everything breaks. So yeah, that's the basic point. When I was building it, I had to fit it into one chunk. So yeah, that's basically it. I hope you liked it. I will post down a world download in the description. Thank you for watching.